Hi, I'm Steve Phillips from Strike King Europe. I wanted to talk to you today about some lures that we got in the new Strike King lineup. And it's something we don't always use a lot of over in the UK, and that's jigs. So what a jig is essentially like a jig head with a lead head and a hook, but with a fibrous skirt on it as well to give it a load of action. I'll start off by looking at what for me is the most exciting one for the UK in the Strike King lineup, and that's the Bitsy Bug Mini Jig. Now, why this is so exciting is because it's absolute perch magic. If you look at that and the size of it, it's a 3.5 gram jig head. Lovely strong forged hook, but it's not too big. Very sharp, high quality hook that's perfect for a big perch, or even a medium-sized perch, these things. But what's great about these is they can be used in a number of ways. They can be used just as they are. I've been fishing with them on the lake behind, and just bare, and that skirt gives it loads of action. So you cast it out and the skirt just pulses through the water as you jig it along. And that's all you need really, is just that jigging action. But if you wanted to as well, you can fit a trailer on the back end. These things would be perfect for a little crayfish bait like the Strike King Chunk, or a Rage Craw Junior, the little Rage Craw. What you do is just cut that down and pop it on the back, and what you have then is when you pull it through the water is a pair of claws out the back, giving it more action, giving it more attraction. But like I say, on its own, it's a brilliant perch catcher. Another great aspect of the Bitsy Bug is the Fibre weed guard that comes from the back of the head and covers the point of the hook. Importantly, what this does is it deflects weed. So if you cast it into any kind of reeds or weed bed or whatever, when you pull the jig back and the weed comes over the top of the jig, that just guides it nicely over the top of the hook, so you don't get snagged up every time. On many jigs that I've seen, that doesn't always work very well because the guard isn't long enough. On this, it's perfect. It goes all the way back to the barb. So even if that is pushed down, you're still going to get that cover over the top of the hook. That's multiple stranded, so it's not just one thick piece of guard to get in the way. And what that also means is when a fish hits the jig, as they do, that'll come down with the fish's mouth, they'll push that out of the way and you're straight into the hook to get a good hook hold. One of the other features you'll find on the Bitsy Bug is the shape of the head at the front end. So if you'll notice, it's not a round head, it's not like a standard round jig head style, it's actually got a specific profile to it. And what that does is when you're bringing that back, that keeps the line contact point, you can see the little loop there, keeps it above the bend of the hook, so that when you're pulling it, that'll pull out of snags. It won't get snagged up on rocks as easily as a round head would, or any other shape would. It's designed just to skip along and keep you out of trouble, and that combined with the weed guard means you'll be fishing these much more effectively over rough ground and cover. One of the other brilliant things about this jig is that it's absolutely bargain priced. In the shops, the RRP is £2.50 for one of these, which is quite incredible really for the quality you're getting. So the Bitsy Bug comes in 3.5 grams, and that's across 3 colours, those being green crawfish, Cajun crawfish and green pumpkin. They're all natural colours, apart from the one with the orange flash. That's the only difference. That's a great change bait if you want something a little bit brighter to get them going. But in the main, those 3 colours are very natural, so they'll look great as a little snack for a perch or a zander, just flicked across the bottom with that silicone skirt, just pulsing in the water. Amazing looking lures, give them a go. So now we get a little bit bigger with the Strike King Tour Grade Football Jig. It's called a football jig for one reason, and that's because of the shape of the head. So if you imagine a rugby ball shape instead of a round shaped head, this sweeps out either side. Now the reason for that is that when you're fishing this, it gives you great feedback. It also packs a lot more weight into the head because obviously you've got the additions of the metal on either side. But when you cast out and it hits the bottom, that shape of head gives you a lot more feedback when you're skipping across rocks or dirt or whatever is on the bottom. It should, through a braided line, give you a lot more feedback so you know what you're working with, where the fish are likely to be, and what's going on in front of you. The head on the front of these is made out of tungsten. Now, people go on about tungsten, but that's for a very good reason. Tungsten as a metal is much denser than lead, so for the same size you're getting much more weight. if you were to try and pack that weight into a lead head, it would be so much bigger, it'd look horrible, it would affect your fishing. But what tungsten allows you to do is go for a smaller package with a bigger weight. So it's very important. It's, you know, high quality tungsten as well, very durable, especially as it's powder coat finished, the paint on the front there. That'll last for quite a while before it starts to chip away when you're going across rocks and gravel. Again, this jig has a fibre weed guard, so just like with the Bitsy Bug, if you're taking that through weed or branches or whatever, it should just slip over the weed guard and straight over the top of the hook to give you a weedless presentation. We've got a very high quality hook on the end of these, super sharp, forged for strength, so you know it's not going to bend you out if you get a big fish. It's not going to let you down. But importantly on these, it's a big round bend, so you've got a big gape on this hook. So if you're fishing these for pike or perch or zander or whatever you're fishing for, you're going to get a good hook hold. There's plenty of meat in that hook, so that when the fish hits, the weed guard goes down, you've got loads. You know, I get my whole finger up in there, so you're going to get lots of purchase on a fish. It also means that if you put a trailer on the back of these, which is a great way of presenting them, you can go for a slightly bigger, say a Strike King Rage Craw with a big fat body on it, and you're still going to have plenty of purchase. If you've got a body like that, of a trailer sticking out, you've still got loads of hook exposed to get a good hook up on any fish that takes. These are available in 2 different weights, 21 grams or just over, and 14 grams or just over. Again, because they're made of tungsten, you're going to get a faster fall rate through the water. If you imagine, again, if you're talking about a 21 gram lead head would be much bigger than that, and as it falls through the water it creates more resistance. But with a smaller tungsten package for the same weight, you're going to get a much faster fall through the water, so it'll keep you or get you down to where the fish are much quicker and get you fishing much more effectively. So it's an efficiency thing as well, the tungsten, not just about the finesse of it and all that, it's about getting you to where you need to be to get the bites. So the tournament football jig comes in 2 colours in Europe so far. You've got the Gamakatsu with its green and an orange fleck, and the black, brown, amber, which is this mean looking thing. So they colour coordinate with the head, powder coated paint on the heads. All in all, what you've got there is a strong, heavy, well thought out jig, great for deep water, great for bigger fish, big perch, zander and pike, and something a little bit different, especially if you put a trailer on the end of those. It gives you lots of options. So if you're in the market for something like that, for deeper water where you want to feel stuff that's going on and catch big fish, give them a go. They've got to be worth giving a go. Just look at them, they look brilliant.